probably too hecticSo. To help break down the frenzy of deals, here are the early winners and losers. Super Bowl winners Cleveland BrownsMan. The Browns are just going to be fun in 2019. They've gone from maybe the most depressing team in NFL history to anything but. Sure, Cleveland fans' standards are low, but they've genuinely improved at an improbable rate. Odell Beckham Jr. is going from New York to Cleveland, and yet the sentiment, for the most part, is how happy the superstar should be. Yes, that has a lot to do with the dumpster fire he's leaving behind, we'll get into that, but also because he's joining up with former LSU teammate Jarvis Landry and a quarterback in Baker Mayfield who finds his receivers early and often. They've also grabbed Olivier Vernon in a trade that saw Kevin Zeitler go to New York, and that Browns' defensive line, along with new signing Sheldon Richardson, officially looks terrifying. The Browns did sign Kareem Hunt, which feels like a too-soon moment. Plus, they have Nick Chubb. So if you're going to criticize them, that's where you do it. Either way, Freddie Kitchens has all the ingredients he needs to lead Cleveland to genuine AFC contention. What a weird sentence. Nick Foles. After a tough 2015 season, Nick Foles nearly retired from football. Since deciding to give it another go, the guy has won a Super Bowl MVP, becoming a Philadelphia cult hero in the process, and now capped it off with a $88 million contract in Jacksonville. Expectations are low thanks to the past few years of Blake Bortles, so anything Foles does will likely feel like a breath of fresh air for Jaguars fans. The offense is short on weapons, but their defense should help keep them in games. Regardless, Foles is getting paid elite quarterback money, and that's cool for him. New York Jets. Pew. What's that? Sam Darnold with weapons. The best running back in the NFL, yeah, I said it, plays for the New York Jets now. Le'Veon Bell put pen to paper to cap off what has been a hyper-aggressive start to free agency from Mike Maccagnan. I know, you're not supposed to pay big money for free agent running backs, but this isn't just any running back. New head coach Adam Gase gets to take over a Jets team that is already comfortably better than Todd Bowles' group last year. Phone call interrupts. Giorno 026. They've traded for Kelechi Osemele to beef up their offensive line, added C.J. Mosley on a big, maybe too big, contract, and signed Jamison Crowder and Josh Bellamy to strengthen their receiving core. Standing idly by as everyone else around you improves is boring and unhelpful. The Jets had money, and they're spending it. They nearly brought in Anthony Barr too before he decided to re-sign with the Minnesota Vikings. In the long term, I'm not so sure that's a bad thing for the Jets. John Gruden and co. Nothing John Gruden did last year made much sense. But with the trade for Antonio Brown, it all feels kind of alright now. Of course, Gruden needs to get the whole coaching thing down pat again, but at least there's something to work with in 2019. Brown has a lot of things, but mostly he's a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL. Oakland have added LaMarcus Joyner to their secondary and receiver Tyrell Williams. The Raiders still have 4 picks in the top 35, too. If this was the plan, it's starting to shake out okay. New look. Source: here's where things could go wrong. The Raiders have thrown a lot of money at Trent Brown, the most ever for an offensive lineman, actually, which seems like a potential mistake for all the reasons you'd think. Bill Belichick turned him into a left tackle and got one great season out of him, good enough for the Raiders to give him $66 million over 4 years. But we've seen this script before, and it's hard to imagine this being a slam dunk for the Raiders. Still, the Raiders are making moves that aren't being unanimously questioned, which must feel nice. Green Bay Packers. Green Bay have been active in free agency. That's almost enough to make them a winner after years of inactivity and wasting the most talented quarterback of all time. Sorry, I'm shouting. But Aaron Rodgers needs some help, and it looks like general manager Brian Gutekunst is trying to make that happen. Adrian Amos is an exciting addition at safety to a team that is slowly starting to turn that secondary into something legitimate. More importantly, though, Billy Turner represents some stability along the offensive line. He's come in on a 4-year deal. Meanwhile, the edge rushing position has received a major boost with Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith set to combine to create the ultimate Smith pass rush. Those two had 26 more pressures in 2018 than all Packers edge rushers did collectively. This is good. Have a cookie, Brian? Ready for his cookie. Source: Apologia Cincinnati Bengals Shallow. Is anyone there? The Cincinnati Bengals weren't terrible last year. They weren't good either. And yet here they are, standing on the side of the room like an awkward teenage boy at formal, too nervous to ask the pretty girl to dance as everyone else has fun around him. They have cap space and one of the worst defenses in the league, and they've done nothing to fix the problem. Yes, their problems did begin when injuries struck last year, but new coach Zach Taylor could use some reinforcements. I wonder if the Bengals know free agency has started yet. Jeremy Birmingham, at Birm, March 13, 2019. Uzoma met head coach Zach Taylor and some assistants for the first time today, and he had a message for them. I told the coaches, hey, go get us some guys. Go get some pieces. The problem comes when you start considering how it got bad enough to force a rebuild. New York's insistence to hang on to Eli Manning and incompetence in fixing their offensive line problems meant they've been participating, but not really competing in the NFL for the last couple seasons. Trading away Odell Beckham Jr. was a concession that the past half-decade was a failure, and that the next 5 years might be too. Manning will play another season, and the Giants are expected to try and draft his eventual successor come April. They've got Saquon Barkley, and a couple other young bright sparks on offense in Sterling Shepard and Evan Engram, but things could be a whole lot better. Oh, and Golden Tate is now a giant in the classic "I swear we're trying" signing. They're no Landon Collins or Olivier Vernon on defense anymore, but they'll welcome Jabril Peppers at safety. Zeidler should help their O-line, but it may not matter too much for a team that's destined to underperform again in 2019. It's all on Saquon now. Source: AAFP Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers aren't losers for any particular reason, other than that they've had to watch as what should have been a Super Bowl dynasty has officially come crashing down. We knew Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell were out the door, but it's also real now. Pittsburgh, to this point in free agency, have a weaker roster than they did last year, and last season they finished as the second-best team in the AFC North. Now, they'll need to be worried about the Browns too. Miami Dolphins might sound like a broken record, but bad teams sitting on their hands while teams improve around them is silly. It's sort of draft Kyler Murray or bust for the Dolphins, who haven't been able to land an experienced quarterback to take over from Ryan Tannehill. They've resigned Devontae Parker, which is nice, I guess, but lost Cameron Wake, Juwan James, Frank Gore, and cut Danny Amendola. Still, they'll probably find a way to win 8 games this year.